This model is all based on the power of students' questions, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. The structure of the model is very simple. We have 5 vadot that meet in a Beit Midrash setting for 55 minutes, then we break for dinner, and then we have classes for 55 minutes. But I want to get back to this idea of questions, and I'm going to use our holiday vada as an example as I bring you through the model. So their overarching question is, how do we want to celebrate holidays as a community? And underneath that question, it became, what's the difference between commemorating and celebrating? As we got closer to Yom HaShoah, the question became more defined. How do we, as a community, want to celebrate Yom HaShoah so it's meaningful to me? And what they decided to do was to look at Yom HaShoah through the lens of a child. What was their world like during that time? Their texts were ancient and modern. They used sacred books and also the internet. They looked at Talmud and YouTube videos and poetry and songs and Hebrew and even a site that highlighted work that was being done at a museum in Houston. And their teachers were experts in the field. They were Schechter students who had just returned from a trip to Poland. There was the author, Pavel Friedman, that had a profound effect on the students when they read and analyzed I Never Saw Another Butterfly. And they also interviewed and had conversations with each other. The learning took place in the classroom, yes, but it also took place very much so in the real world. We push them out of the classroom as much as we can. And then the most important piece is for them to take that learning and to share it, to teach it to others. And in this particular case, they taught it not only to the younger students in the religious school, but invited the adults in the community to come in. And even more importantly, they involved everybody in this experience, from the nursery school students to the adults in the community. This, I think, probably the most profound outcome for me as an observer of this and for the students is the effect that they have on others through their learning and through sharing that learning. And these are just a few quotes that were posted on the Temple Israel Center Facebook page after some of the adults and teens in our community went through this experience. And what did they do? They decided that they were going to create a museum. So some of these parents and teens and adults in the community went through the museum. These are just 2 quotes. When I initially entered the darkened room and heard the music and saw the lights and display, I immediately felt my father was in the room and got choked up. It was a powerful experience for Josh and I. I shall never forget this experience created by the high school. I felt like I had been transported back in time. The other thing I want to emphasize is that this was not a program or an activity, but a culmination of learning. It was an experience. And what I just want to share with you, and I apologize if the pictures, I don't know how it looks, but we have Google sites that we create for each vada. And I use that term correctly, not vad, but this is a vada, which means that they are charged to create something. And on the Google sites, they post their process that they go through. So on the top is I'm not going to go through it, but it basically shows how they came to this idea of creating a museum and what they did. This second part, where it says the Talmud class, where it starts, this was fascinating. They asked the teachers that taught classes the second part to please connect their subject matter to the Holocaust, and then ask the students in that class to create something that would be on display in their museum. So it brought everybody together. They asked the nursery school kids to color in butterflies, which they then hung in honor of Pavel Friedman. So everybody was involved, and I think that was an incredible, powerful tool. This just basically goes through, it's not important, it just basically goes through the steps that they took, going through the museum. And at the very end, what we did was, we asked everyone who had gone through the museum to reflect on this question, which is, why is it important for you to remember the Holocaust? And we gave everyone a Post-it, and this was just in the beginning, and then it was filled with Post-its, and we kept it up for a couple of days. And now I'm just going to share with you a video that we took of the experience of some of the people going through the museum. You'll see young kids, you'll see some teachers, you'll see some adults, and hopefully this should be it. Do I have to push anything to move it forward?